Behind the smiles, teacups, and perfect manners, Britain hides some strange, untold stories you won't believe are real. These facts and secrets will blow your mind. So like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which one completely stunned you. 1. Wales has more castles per square mile than anywhere else. It's almost impossible to travel through Wales without stumbling upon a castle. And that's not an exaggeration. With more than 600 castles packed into a country smaller than many US states, Wales holds the world record for castle density. These stone fortresses were originally built by Norman invaders to secure their power, but today they stand as proud symbols of Welsh history and defiance. From the fairy tale towers of Conwy and Caernarfon to the rugged ruins of Raglan, each castle tells a story of conquest, royalty, and rebellion. Some have secret tunnels and ghost tales whispered through their halls, while others host modern festivals and medieval reenactments. In a way, Wales isn't just a country, it's one enormous open-air museum of medieval Europe. No wonder locals like to say, to understand Wales, start with its castles. 2. The king legally owns all the mute swans in open water. Here's one of the United Kingdom's strangest royal traditions. Every single unmarked mute swan, gracefully gliding on open water, technically belongs to the monarch. This odd law dates back to the 12th century, when swans were considered a royal delicacy served at grand feasts. Today, of course, no one eats them, but the custom lives on through an ancient ceremony called the swan upping. Each summer, royal swan markers row along the River Thames, count the swans, and check their health while proudly wearing bright scarlet uniforms. It's one of those charmingly British rituals that blend monarchy, wildlife, and pageantry into one surreal spectacle. Even now, harming or stealing a swan can still be treated as an offence against the crown, a reminder that in Britain, even the birds have royal protection. 3. London has more Indian restaurants than Mumbai. It may sound unbelievable, but London, not Mumbai or Delhi, is one of the best cities on earth for Indian cuisine. From high-end dining rooms in Mayfair to late-night curry houses in Brick Lane, there are more Indian restaurants in London than in India's own financial capital. This culinary revolution began when immigrants from South Asia arrived in the mid-20th century, blending their flavors with British tastes. The result? The legendary chicken tikka masala, now often called Britain's unofficial national dish. Londoners order millions of curries every week, proving how deeply Indian culture has woven itself into modern British life. Whether it's butter chicken in Soho or a spicy vindaloo in East London, the city's food scene celebrates diversity better than any speech ever could. For many Brits, going for a curry is as traditional as fish and chips. 4. The world's oldest underground railway began in London in the 19th century. Long before skyscrapers or smartphones, Londoners were already commuting beneath the streets. In 1863, the world's first underground railway, the Metropolitan Line, opened its tunnels to the public, powered not by electricity but by steam engines that filled the carriages with thick smoke. Passengers complained about soot on their clothes, but they kept riding, amazed by this futuristic idea of traveling under the city. That humble experiment became the London Underground, now stretching across more than 250 miles of track and carrying over 4 million passengers daily. Its iconic roundel logo and rumbling trains are woven into London's identity, as familiar as Big Ben or red buses. Walking through the tunnels today, you can still sense the echoes of Victorian ambition, proof that Britain was once the engine room of innovation. 5. The British drink more tea per person than anyone on Earth. Tea isn't just a drink in Britain, it's practically a national religion. Every day, Britons consume around 100 million cups, making the United Kingdom the undisputed tea capital of the world. The habit began in the 17th century when the East India Company imported tea from China, and soon it became the drink of choice across all classes, from factory workers to the royal family. A cuppa is now the go-to solution for every problem, celebration, or awkward silence. Whether it's Earl Grey, English breakfast, or builder's tea brewed strong with milk, each cup tells a story of comfort and connection. There are even formal tea rituals, like afternoon tea, complete with scones, jam, and clotted cream. In Britain, tea isn't just about taste. It's about slowing down, talking things through, and finding peace in the stormy rhythm of life. 6. Stonehenge's mysterious stones are older than the pyramids of Egypt. Standing silent on the Salisbury Plain, Stonehenge has baffled historians for centuries. Those colossal stones, some weighing more than 20 tons, were raised around 5,000 years ago, long before the Great Pyramid of Giza even existed. Nobody knows exactly how ancient Britons moved them across miles of rugged terrain without wheels or modern tools. The site aligns perfectly with the sunrise on the summer solstice, suggesting it may have been a ceremonial calendar, a temple, or perhaps even an ancient observatory. What's certain is that Stonehenge reflects extraordinary human cooperation and ingenuity for its time. Today, it draws millions of visitors every year, who come to feel the same sense of wonder that people must have felt millennia ago. It's not just a circle of stones, it's Britain's oldest riddle, carved in rock and wrapped in mystery. 7. Scotland's national animal is the unicorn. Yes, you heard that right. The proud, fierce, and entirely mythical unicorn is Scotland's official national animal. This isn't just whimsy, it goes back centuries to Celtic mythology, where the unicorn symbolized purity, power, and independence, qualities the Scots deeply admired. When King James I united Scotland and England in the 17th century, the unicorn was already part of Scotland's royal coat of arms. To this day, it still appears alongside England's lion, forever locked in a symbolic battle between wild freedom and royal authority. Statues of unicorns guard castles, government buildings, and even bridges across the nation. For Scots, it's more than a fantasy creature. It's a reminder that imagination, pride, and freedom are as real as any empire. Only in Scotland could a myth become a national emblem, and somehow it feels perfectly fitting. 8. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. It's hard to grasp just how ancient Oxford University really is. Teaching began there as early as the 11th century, long before the Aztec Empire rose in what's now Mexico. By the time the Aztecs built their great city of Tenochtitlan in the 15th century, Oxford had already produced generations of scholars, clergy, and future monarchs. Its medieval halls and cobbled courtyards still echo with nearly 1,000 years of history, from candlelit debates to the birth of modern science. Many global institutions, from universities to parliaments, were modelled on Oxford's traditions. Even today, its architecture feels like stepping into another century, a living museum of intellect and tradition. To think that students were studying philosophy and Latin in Oxford while the rest of the world hadn't even discovered the printing press is nothing short of astonishing. 9. The Tower of London ravens have official caretakers and a dark legend. Among all royal traditions, few are as eerie or as iconic as the ravens of the Tower of London. Legend says that if these black-feathered guardians ever leave the fortress, the monarchy and the entire kingdom will fall. To prevent that grim prophecy, at least 6 ravens are kept there at all times, under the care of an official raven master who lives inside the tower. Each bird even has a name, a diet of raw meat, and its own personality. Some are mischievous, others surprisingly affectionate. The custom dates back to the reign of King Charles II in the 17th century, when he ordered the bird's protection after hearing the prophecy. Tourists still flock to see them today, snapping photos of creatures who, in their own strange way, protect Britain's history. Superstition or not, the ravens remain just in case. 10. It's still legal to kill a Scotsman in York, but only with a bow and arrow. This bizarre old law sounds like a joke, but it's a genuine relic from medieval England. In the city of York, an ancient statute technically allows a person to shoot a Scotsman within the city walls, but only if it's done with a bow and arrow, and only on a Sunday. Of course, no one has tried it for centuries, and modern law would never allow it, but the rule was never officially repealed. It dates back to the days when England and Scotland were bitter enemies, and city defences were taken very seriously. Laws like this one reveal the strange sense of humour buried in Britain's legal history, quirky, archaic, and oddly well-preserved. Today, it's a favourite piece of pub trivia, proving that in the United Kingdom, even the law has a wickedly funny sense of tradition. 11. Wales has a village name with 58 letters, the longest in Europe. Welcome to Llanfair Pulgwingil Gogarishver Endrobol Lantysilio Gogogosh. Yes, that's an actual village name in North Wales. Locals often shorten it to Llanfair PG to spare visitors the struggle. The name, created in the 19th century for publicity, means St. Mary's Church, in the hollow of the White Hazel near the rapid whirlpool, and the Church of St. Cecilio by the Red Cave. It's a tongue-twister so long that even train station signs can barely fit it, and tourists love filming themselves attempting to pronounce it. The name has made the village world-famous, attracting curious travelers from across the globe. Locals wear it as a badge of pride, proof that the Welsh language is alive, poetic, and delightfully unbothered by simplicity. If you can pronounce it correctly, you've earned instant Welsh respect. 12. The British once ruled an empire covering 1/4 of the world's land area. At its height in the early 20th century, the British Empire was the largest in history, a global network so vast that people said the sun never sets on the British Empire. From the Caribbean to India, from Africa to Australia, British rule stretched across every continent. More than 400 million people once lived under its flag, influencing everything from trade routes to languages and even traffic systems, which is why many countries still drive on the left today. But this empire was not built without conflict. It brought enormous wealth to Britain, but also caused deep scars through colonization and exploitation. Today, its legacy lives on in the Commonwealth, where 56 nations maintain cultural and diplomatic ties. Whether viewed with pride or regret, the empire's reach shaped the modern world more than any other in history. 13. The royal family changed its surname from Saxe-Coburg-Gotha to Windsor. During World War I, Britain faced fierce anti-German sentiment, and even the royal family wasn't spared. Their original surname, Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, sounded unmistakably German, a problem when German bombs, made by the Gotha Company, were falling on London. In 1917, King George V made a historic decision. He changed the family's name to Windsor, inspired by Windsor Castle, a symbol of English strength and continuity. Overnight, the monarchy became unmistakably British in name and image. The transformation worked. The House of Windsor became a beloved national institution that still reigns today. What began as a clever act of wartime PR turned into a lasting royal identity. So, the next time you hear the Windsors, remember, it's not just a name, but a reminder of how even kings must sometimes adapt to survive history's storms. 14. The island of Sark has no cars, only tractors and bicycles. Imagine a place where the loudest sound you hear is the wind through the trees or the creak of a bicycle chain. That's Sark. This tiny island, part of the Channel Islands between Britain and France, has banned cars entirely. Locals and visitors travel by foot, bike, or horse-drawn carriage, while farmers and emergency workers use small tractors. With no streetlights, the night sky glows brilliantly with stars, earning Sark the title of the world's first dark sky island. Life here moves at a slower, almost timeless rhythm, untouched by modern chaos. The island has only a few hundred residents, one post office, and a centuries-old feudal heritage that lasted until the 2000s. Visiting Sark feels like stepping into another era, a peaceful, picture-perfect escape where the modern world politely stops at the shore. 15. Driving on the left comes from medieval sword etiquette. Britain's famous left-side driving rule isn't random. It's rooted in medieval tradition. Centuries ago, travelers on horseback preferred to keep to the left side of the road, so their right hand, the one holding the sword, was free to defend against oncoming strangers. It made perfect sense in an era when safety often depended on reflexes and steel. When horse-drawn carriages appeared, the rule stuck, and Britain later formalized it into law. Today, around 75 countries still drive on the left, mostly former British colonies. Ironically, Napoleon's armies spread right-side driving across Europe, setting up the east-west divide that remains. So next time you rent a car in London and panic at the roundabouts, remember you're following a 1,000-year-old custom born from knights, duels, and a deep respect for staying alive. 16. Scotland's Loch Ness is deeper than the North Sea. While most people visit Loch Ness hoping to spot its legendary monster, few realize how immense this Scottish lake truly is. Stretching for nearly 23 miles, it plunges to depths of over 750 feet, deeper than parts of the North Sea itself. Because of its narrow shape and steep sides, the loch holds more water than all the lakes in England and Wales combined. Its dark, peaty waters make it nearly impossible to see the bottom, fueling the mystery of Nessie, the mythical creature said to lurk within. Scientists have used sonar, submarines, and drones to explore its depths, yet the legend refuses to die. Misty mornings and rippling waves only add to the eerie charm. Whether or not you believe in monsters, Loch Ness remains one of the most hauntingly beautiful places on Earth. 17. Cheese rolling in Gloucestershire is a real and dangerous British sport. Every spring, on a steep green hill called Cooper's Hill in Gloucestershire, crowds gather to watch one of Britain's strangest and most reckless traditions, cheese rolling. Competitors chase a heavy wheel of double Gloucester cheese down a near-vertical slope tumbling, tripping, and somersaulting at terrifying speeds. The cheese can reach over 70 miles per hour, faster than most of the runners. First to reach the bottom wins the cheese and eternal bragging rights. The event is so wild that it's officially unauthorized, yet it happens every year regardless, attracting daredevils from around the world. Broken bones, twisted ankles, and bruised pride are common souvenirs, but the atmosphere is pure joy and madness. It's a perfect snapshot of the British spirit, absurd, brave, and proudly unbothered by logic. In short, it's tradition, and that's reason enough. 18. London's black cab drivers must pass the knowledge, one of the hardest tests on earth. Becoming a London black cab driver isn't as simple as knowing how to drive. It's a test of memory, endurance, and obsession. Applicants must master the knowledge, an exam requiring them to memorize every street, landmark, and route within a 6-mile radius of Charing Cross. That's more than 25,000 streets and tens of thousands of locations. Most candidates spend 3 to 4 years studying, often riding scooters around the city to commit every turn to memory. The success rate is brutally low, but those who pass earn immense respect. Neuroscientists have even discovered that cabbies' hippocampi, the brain's memory centers, physically enlarge during the process. In an age of GPS and Google Maps, London's black cab drivers remain living proof that human intelligence can still outperform technology through sheer grit and dedication. 19. The British invented the tank, the hovercraft, and the jet engine. Few countries have contributed as many groundbreaking inventions to modern warfare and transportation as Britain. During World War I, British engineers created the first tank, a metal landship designed to cross trenches and crush enemy defenses. Decades later, another Brit, Sir Frank Whittle, revolutionized aviation with the invention of the jet engine, forever changing how the world travels. And in the mid-20th century, Sir Christopher Cockerell developed the hovercraft, a vehicle that glides over land and water on a cushion of air. Each of these innovations reshaped industries and inspired global competition. Even today, their legacy continues in every modern airplane, amphibious vessel, and armored vehicle. It's easy to forget that behind Britain's polite image of tea and tradition lies a restless, inventive streak that has repeatedly pushed human technology to astonishing new frontiers. 20. Windsor Castle is the oldest and largest inhabited castle in the world. For nearly 1,000 years, Windsor Castle has stood proudly over the River Thames, a living fortress that has witnessed almost every chapter of British history. Built by William the Conqueror in the 11th century, it has been home to 40 monarchs, each leaving their mark on its grand halls and towering walls. The castle covers 13 acres with over 1,000 rooms, including the magnificent St. George's Hall, where royal banquets still take place. Despite its age, Windsor remains fully functional, not just a museum, but an actual royal residence where King Charles III still spends weekends. Fires, wars, and sieges have scarred it, yet it always rises again. Visiting Windsor feels like walking through a timeline of Britain itself, ancient, resilient, and undeniably majestic. 21. The Great Stink of London once shut down Parliament. In the scorching summer of 1858, London became almost uninhabitable. The River Thames, which carried both sewage and drinking water, turned into a foul, bubbling swamp of disease and decay. The stench grew so unbearable that members of Parliament literally fled the building. Their curtains soaked in lime and vinegar couldn't mask the smell. This crisis, known as the Great Stink, finally forced the government to act. An engineer named Joseph Basil Jetta designed a vast underground sewer system, one of the greatest public works projects of the Victorian era, which still serves London today. His innovations saved countless lives and transformed the city into a model of modern sanitation. Out of one of Britain's most disgusting moments came one of its most brilliant solutions, proof that even revolting history can leave behind a legacy of progress. And that's the United Kingdom, a land where myths, history, and absurd traditions live side by side. From unicorns and royal ravens to laws no one dares to repeal, Britain truly redefines what it means to be unique. If you enjoyed these surprising facts, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Tell me below which British fact amazed you the most, or if you've experienced any of these firsthand. Until next time, this is Andy Explores the World, uncovering one astonishing country at a time.